What's going on, guys? It's Jay, aka It's Ghost Story, back with another Phantom Parade discussion style video. So today's video, it's not really going to be just my opinions as it usually is on this channel. So if you guys have been subscribed, you have most likely have seen my opinion on Global's first anniversary. I posted a video about it. Yes, I like my own videos. Listen, man, who's going to like my content if I don't like my content? You feel me? But I made my opinion very blatantly clear during this anniversary season. I wasn't really the biggest fan of what was going on, and in my Discord server I made an announcement and I basically asked the people that volunteered to be a part of future videos, hey, how did you guys feel about first anniversary for Global? And mind you, I asked this before my actual video dropped. So if you guys see, like, I dropped my videos at like 12 p.m. Like, I dropped like my thing early in the morning. So some of these opinions that we're getting are before mine, and I'm glad I did it beforehand. So you guys won't think people are just kind of yes manning my opinions if they are similar to mine, because I feel like a lot of people do share a similar sentiment that I do. So we're going to kind of go over the Discord, and we're going to go over to YouTube and look at my comments and also see other people's opinions. And I'll obviously give my feedback on what they say, and let me know if you guys agree with some of the people and their opinions on the current state of Phantom Parade and how Global Anniversary was structured. So first we got Perfection. They said, I overall liked the anniversary, but it felt like there was really a lack of events throughout the entire thing. I understand the main part of the Andy was to continue the Shibuya arc and the story, but honestly, it just felt like I couldn't do much summons all throughout. Also, the idea of 6 limited units in one celebration is honestly terrible, considering the game doesn't give you any cubes to work with after story. Honestly, a 7 out of 10 anniversary for me. The characters are good, but you just don't have enough cubes to get them. And I also shared this very similar sentiment in my own video, where, again, we have an anniversary event with a lot of limited units. Now, when Perfection says 6 limited units, I'm going to assume that they're also referring to 0.2 Gojo, who I believe we're probably going to get around late February, maybe around the March-ish area. But still, pretty close by. And if you even wanted to go even further than that, right? And all technicality, right? Just straight into technicality alone, there is technically 9 limited back-to-back units during this anniversary. We have both Yutas, we had Geto, we had Miguel, that's 4 already. Then we had Yuji Todo, Sukuna Mahito, that's another 4. And then we're going to get 0.2 Gojo, that's another limited. That's 9 limited units in the span of what we're going to get in like a couple of months. But like 8 out of those 9 were in the span of like 2 months, right? Or almost 3. Very short crunch time period to pump out all of these units, and almost no cubes are given as a response, basically through content, because I've noticed that a lot of you guys also share a similar sentiment to me, where you don't just want free cubes thrown at you and call it a day. You guys want to like actually play the game for your cubes. Now, the 7 out of 10 anniversary, it's a generous sentiment because the characters are fantastic. It's just not enough. It's not enough. Now, the Shibuya arc, it's cool, but I feel like they didn't do much with it outside of just smacking a story mode and just saying that's it. But that was Perfection's take on anniversary, and I do agree with the sentiment. There wasn't that many cubes and too many limited units in one celebration. Now, next we have Zero. Now, Zero says, it being our first actual anniversary, I think they did a pretty good job, honestly, but they were lacking events. I agree. Each unit should have honestly had an event, even something simple like an Imaginary Realm versus Jogo and Mahito for Todo, and Sukuna, to their credit. The Maharaga event is very fun, a different, and I like it, and I hope they can do it monthly or bi-monthly. I also brought that up to another YouTuber, DOJJK, where he also had a comment on my video that we're going to discuss later. But I also brought up, I do agree that these raids should be a monthly or bi-monthly thing. I believe it would be a great thing for it to be monthly or bi-monthly. The other events such as Recall, the wheel spin were cool too. No one should complain about free stuff. That is true. The free multis should have been with the updated standard banner. I agree. That's the only problem really with that. The Annie units are great. I think they really nailed it. They're all fun and well designed and look great. I get why people are complaining about the New Year stuff, especially the free UG, but I don't get why they think we aren't getting the event. I know they confirmed it, but every time JP gets something, Global acts like it's not here now. We aren't getting it. We have always been behind, guys, and it's not a bad thing. We had a major advantage as Annie because of it. We know Toto and Mahito are the most valuable units by far. We know Blue Gojo's an easy skip because of stuff like this. I like I like the delay we have. 7 out of 10. More events and more interesting events like Maharaga, and it would be an easy 9. Not bad for a first try. Now that is a more, how would I say, optimistic approach. And the thing is, I do agree with most of what's being said. I believe if we had some imaginary realms stacked in the anniversary, that would be fine. Because I think imaginary realm is pretty fun. I'll be honest. Like playing around and like buffing up the boss or like fighting the boss at the hardest difficulty and going through it, claiming all your rewards. That's fun. I like imaginary realm. Give us the imaginary realm Jogo. Give us the imaginary realm Mahito. Give us the imaginary realm Maharaga. You know, give us an imaginary realm Kenjaku, right? Give us something. But I do agree with this mindset that every time something drops for JP, I will see so many comments from global players being like, "Oh, we never get anything on global. We just never get anything." And I'm like, guys, you purposely downloaded the version of the game that you should be well aware is behind JP. And then you're complaining that we're getting content after JP. You guys get what I mean? That's why I feel like it loops back to my first Ramble video where I was complaining about how when people play Phantom Parade, it's like they never played a gacha game before. Because I'm pretty sure Dokkan players, please correct me, but I'm pretty sure Dokkan, before they synced up, there was like a 6-month gap between unit releases. And on Phantom Parade, our unit release cycle is like 2 months as a gap for the most part. So I don't mind the gap as well. Like I made community polls on this. I spoke about this in my Discord. I spoke about this in my comments. I don't mind the gap. I kind of like knowing who's going to come before they arrive so I can plan my cubes out accordingly. Or if I know it's going to be like a super hype unit, I can save up cubes, and it also makes it easier for videos in the first place. So overall agree with this take. It's a pretty reasonable take. And this anniversary could have been a 9 or even a 10 if there were things to do, which is like the bare minimum, but that's besides the point. Then we got Yousef. To me, it just looks decent. Now the units are great and the whole theme of the Shibuya arc, the Maharaga event, all cool stuff. But for an anniversary, it feels a little bit mundane when we compare it to something like Dokkan, for example. Granted, Dokkan has been around for almost 10 years now, and yes, this game is pretty much just starting out as far as I know. But would a couple events to use the units in really be that much trouble? Also, another thing is the fact that you have like 4 banners. Each of them actually have good characters. This, while it does help bring in new players, that's what happened with me, and at least people who started a little bit before Annie will now just re-roll, and those who have been here since day one would either test their luck on the 4 banners, mind you, with what little resources they have, or again, just make an alt account. I understand that maybe due to it being a bit new, there's not that many units, and whatnot, making an event tailor-made where the new units can shine, and might be a bit much due to the fact that you have little options considering the game's roster, but I do think it should have been possible at least. The only thing I'm afraid of at this moment would be power creep we will have after these units. Overall though, 6 out of 10 Annie, not great, not bad, just decent. And you know what? I also appreciate the new player perspective, because I feel like, if I believe correctly, Zero and Perfection have been playing the game for a fairly long time. I know Perfection has had a day one account just like me, so this is a perspective from somebody that's been playing the game since the beginning. The new player experience is obviously going to be very different, and there's going to be a very big appeal to people just hopping into the game and just gathering the units like the Kamidogus on some Mortal Kombat timing. I don't know why I said Dragon Ball, but Mortal Kombat timing, right? And it might be fun for y'all because when you hop into the game so late, not only do you have all the content to play, but you also have the most fun units in the game to play. So the new player experience might just flat out be better than the day one experience, because not only do y'all drop into this game not really knowing what's going on, figuring out and understanding things, but you guys have the whole stack story mode. You guys have all of Tower to go through. You guys have all the training missions, the grade enhancement missions. You have the formidable foes. You have all these things that you can do that seem really cool to play around with when you have these new, basically brand new toys to play around with, which are the new anniversary units. But for us players that have been playing since day one, it's kind of like, okay, we got these units, but all this content that all the new players are playing, yeah, we played in like, what, the first couple of months, and then story mode content isn't even really content for us because it's just quite literally you smack that thing on auto and then you click on your phone again or your computer or whatever to keep it going to the next mission. I agree for the most part. Pretty understandable. The only thing is that I don't agree with the reroll stuff. I don't reroll. Listen, man, if I play a gacha game and I get a bad hand, we accept that bad hand and we keep it going. I have never rerolled an account before. Shout out to everybody that they take their L's with stride and just keep it pushing. Okay. Now, next is Dave. Let's see what Dave has to say. I know Dave has two big comments. Now, getting the obvious out of the way, the units are so fun and they feel extremely satisfying to play, and the Maharaga raid event is a fun challenge battle that was desperately needed to add more content to use what is going on? To use the new units with. My bad, guys, it's like 4 a.m. But as a very light spender, I'm left wondering, where are the SP buffs? It doesn't feel like much of a celebration when 2/3 of the units in my box are just gathering dust. Red Toto is the perfect example. He's been weak since his introduction, but with the release of 120% Yuji, he was begging to become a weaker green Toto and let the brother duo be ran together. But for some reason, the devs make Yuji's main rival Mahito his perfect partner instead. So many units from the first year could easily be top 5 with a few small tweaks. Momo increasing her buff turns, Degami getting a higher damage reduction buff, both OG Gojos having slightly longer turn limits, but the devs seem to rather give us entire new units that reward people for summoning on units in this last year. Will we get new SP buffs? Eventually, of course, but their absence still undermines the anniversary in my opinion. Now, I'm going to respond to this first piece before we get to Dave's second part. So I will say, I do agree with the notion that we didn't really get new SPs. I feel like, again, had a little cough. But the Yuta, Miguel, and Geto SPs, very cool, very strong. However, their SPs for 3 limited units that realistically, from a usual basis, probably will only appear like once a year, right? So the fact that we didn't get any standard banner like year 0 SPs or day 0 SPs, I mean, yellow Inumaki could easily be like the yellow equivalent of blue Inumaki or red Inumaki. Just make him a yellow debuffer, just whatever, just shove in another debuffer, right? You know, obviously Red Toto deserves an SP, right? Green Panda, Lord knows what they do with Green Panda, but you know, that is an option that's on the table, right? There is a lot of units that are just sitting there and they kind of just exist at the moment. So I do feel like we will be getting those SPs in the future. Hopefully us waiting for those SPs would actually make them stronger and more relevant in the meta down the line. I mean, I'm hoping that these SPs that they're holding or they haven't released yet aren't being held, and then when they are released, they feel outdated. So I do say the SPs would be necessary. The only thing that I wouldn't say disagree with, but I'm at odds with, is that the disassociation that Mahito, you know, I guess shouldn't be Yuji's perfect partner, because obviously it kind of fits into their storyline, you know, the I am you thing. So it kind of fits that these two would be on the same color category, and they kind of work perfectly together, because at the end of the day, I am you, right? So I feel like that works. But the example of using Red Toto is perfectly fine, and it's actually completely understandable. And in fact, I didn't even think of that in the first place, so it's a good thing to bring up. I mean, we have Blue Toto's SP, so why not Red? They make them all just a little bit stronger. Now, next is the part 2, and then Dave also says there is a bunch of weird choices. Why was the 120% trio one of the most iconic images in all of JJK given to a completely useless wreck bit? That is also true. I don't know what compelled Sumzap to take such an iconic moment from the manga and kind of just bastardize it into an SP, not an SP, a wreck bit. It should have been absolutely been the art for Yuji and Toto's featured wreck bit, which also should have been ran on Mahito's banner, as he's the Black Flash unit as well. That way, no matter if you're a complete free-to-play, you're basically guaranteed to get one of the best wreck bits in the game, but instead the devs decide if you summon on the best anniversary unit, you don't deserve any wreck bit. The idea that Mahito, one of the featured SSRs for the global first anniversary, did not get either a new wreck bit or just a wreck bit featured on his banner in the first place, very distasteful. I don't care if he's the 4th unit. He's the main antagonist in that fight of your headline 2 featured units from part 1 and part 2. To give the man some respect. Like, come on now. That's a little ridiculous. But I agree. Dio, which is DOJJK, who we're ultimately looking at his comment afterwards, replied and said, I fully agree, and it makes no sense that Mahito's banner doesn't have a single featured wreck bit, and I'm not even talking about a brand new one. They should have just reran an adequate one for him, like Cursed Spirit School or the Gojo Sealed in the Cube one, and the best in the game for hybrid units, and not in standard yet. Simply ran on a random rerun banner with green Megami and green Obara. Unfortunately, the devs are known for planning ahead and making some top tier units have no original wreck bit on their first banner, to then put a great one in their rerun to get people to pull, even if they already own the character. It happened with Shoko, which had Cursed Spirit School in her rerun, and I'm sure it's going to happen now to Red Megami, as his banner in JP didn't have one either. Likewise, they put great original wreck bits on random rerun standard banner character ones. Lol, it's a scummy move, but they will continue doing it. We need to learn from our past mistakes, guys. We gotta stop giving them money, man, when they release those standard banner units with a good old wreck bit. I'll be honest with you guys, when that Shoko banner rerun came, I didn't summon on it. But that's because I was also traumatized from my original Shoko summons, where I had to go all the way to pity. And there were no pity points in my card at the time, man. I had to go to pity, not like, okay, I gotta go to 150 and then spend 100 points. Like, no. The 75k cubes were spent, man. Shoko banner haunts me. Next, we got Laya. I'm hoping I pronounced that correctly. Now, this is the last person who gave their take in the server. So, they said, hi, thanks for welcoming me. Welcome to the server, my friend, and welcome to the squad. Overall, I don't think the anniversary was that bad, contrary to how much people seem to hate on it in the fan Discord server. Now, I am in what would be considered both big JJK Phantom Parade Discord servers, but I really do avoid them like the plague, because, don't get me wrong, I was pretty negative in my video, but God, man. Like, you would think this anniversary was like the end of the earth in that server. Yes, there were some issues, like the lack of communication. Unfortunately, it's often noticeable on the global side that the developers aren't on top of the situation when it comes to the order of the event releases, but at the same time, I can understand that their hands are tied, and since we can't sync with JP, the global version inevitably falls behind in terms of hype. It's true, there should be more events, and I fully agree with those who mentioned that. There isn't much you could do in the game, which is why we'd really need more events or possibly some tower-related limited missions. 5 limited characters almost back to back is a lot, especially with such a low amount of cubes. All of them are strong, hyped characters, especially Sukuna. But with such a high pity, this amount of currency just isn't enough. But I do think that Monopoly event was a win on the global side. I managed to get an A2 Yuta on my free-to-play account. And special thanks for the What If Sadosugu recollection and story scene. For me alone, that already made it worth it. The anti-units are fun, especially Toto. I just loved the animation on his ult. Overall, I'm satisfied, but I played the game mainly for the side stories and certain characters, so I don't stress too much about not being able to attain all the meta limited characters. And you know what? That is one of the reasons why I'm glad I asked this question, is because you see all the different points of view. I feel like making content like this is a good thing because it kind of opens my eyes to see more than just my perspective, which is basically I'm a whale. I play around the meta. I do love JJK, it's a series, but I do understand that when you're playing a gacha game, you can't just summon for your favorite characters and always make things work out. But other people, they will play the game, and they'll also play the game for different reasons besides like trying to beat the hardest content. Some people just kind of enjoy the fact that they're getting a JJK IP approved game that features their favorite characters or features side stories of their favorite characters, and they enjoy that. But also, even if you enjoy that, you're also able to acknowledge that Anniversary just wasn't perfect. And that is a fine analysis. I do think some tower-related limited missions would have helped. Some anything, man. Some anything, dude. Anything. It just feels like everybody's in overall agreement. Just overall, there was almost nothing to do. And that's the problem. Why is there just nothing to do? That's really it, man. Why is there nothing to do? But that is my Discord's opinions. What about my YouTube comments? I'm going to go through 2 comments specifically, or maybe we'll look through a little bit more. But this one is from the main man himself, DOJJK. If you guys aren't subscribed, or if you want basically just some straight up Phantom Parade gameplay, no commentary like I do, and you want to see some absolutely ridiculous things that seem almost fictional in concept, this channel is great. Check it out.
What's going on, guys? It's Jay.
No. Intro me from the past. I don't need to hear all that. But his opinion was, I have a mixed to negative reaction regarding this prolonged anniversary due to the erratic scheduling, lack of communication from the company towards their players, and also the absence of something different gameplay-wise during the celebration. Like you said, the story event is just auto-grinding. Same gameplay loop we've seen 100 times by now. And being a day one player, besides the rare resources also present in the story events like the Wrecked Bit, Unidupe, or the Chaotic Crystal, I no longer need character XP or other mats. I literally auto-grind the event while my phone is charging and don't even touch it. Now for the Maharaga event, that was indeed something a bit different and that the game desperately needs. This is one feeling like a mix of Sweet Battle with the phase transitions, but also like Score Challenge in a less restrictive way, and also with a boss that can hit hard instead of just being a punching bag. Although I hate the stun RNG and that he can easily do that, that he can do that easily ruins one attempt. However, for EU and the UK time zone, the event is only online at terrible hours, from 1 a.m. to 3 p.m. So most of us can only do some more serious attempts during lunch break, and then it closes from 3 p.m. to 1 a.m. It should be available at all times, and if it needs indeed a few hours for the whole adaptation process and score calculation, it should be more brief. The new units are excellent and I love their kits and design. They're extremely helpful for the new 81 through 90 tower floors, but those brought an issue of its own, which is that Global got the new SP layer and hard sweep simultaneously with the tower floors. They need very well built characters, and the drop rates for hard sweep mats are horrendous and extremely slow. In 2 weeks and 16 runs for green mats, ended up not even getting enough of those flats to complete one co-op ball. Very, very interesting. We're sort of having to make our own fun and content at this point, aka replaying already cleared stages and towered, or build, test, and explore some of the more underrated and forgotten units. It's wild to think that this game is actually already 2 years old in JP, and we're almost caught up, and it still lacks any diversity in different game modes, always sticking to the same gameplay loops. It's a shame, as I absolutely love the combat system and visuals. It has a lot of potential, but I feel like the company forgets their dedicated and paid players and makes it too casual. They didn't even have anti-cheat implemented for the Maharaga event in JP, which completely ruined it competitively for most people. Now, this comment had a lot of points, but they were pretty based. Because here's the thing. First things first, as somebody who does not live in the EU, and I didn't have seemingly the time zone issues for the Maharaga event, I didn't know that it was a time-locked event. Maybe because like when the event was going on, and I guess it was time-locked, I was working, so I didn't see it, but they should really reconsider that, because it's kind of crazy that you would have like a core part of your player base borderline incapable of playing the main content that you add for your anniversary, because the only other is the auto battle grind fest. So the main most fun content that you add, a core part of your player base cannot reasonably play. And if they are willing to play, it is at some very odd times, or they have to force themselves to make some, extracurricular movements to get to that point, which people shouldn't be doing that. They shouldn't be doing that. I feel like that should be something that Sunzap and Billy should be considering, or like trying to optimize, I guess, their server approach if it really takes that long for their Maharaga adaptation process and to do the score calculation and the whole 9 yard. They should really like hammer that in and work on that further. Also, the fact as well that, well, let's see, what else? Oh yeah, and the tower floors being brought in at the same time with SP layer and sweep battle. Sweep is, listen, I know you guys be asking me for sweep videos, but sweep as it stands annoys me so much, because I feel like because we got hard sweep so quickly, I became more annoyed with sweep. Because it just brings in this prevalent problem that it feels like we're time gated from playing content, because we have to get our SPs, then we have to like distribute it to units like equally at first, then target our main units, then we have to attempt content, and then we have to do it for another color category team, and this is like a process that takes weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, and it's just, I hate it. I hate time-limited content, especially when the time-limited content in question takes a week to wait to come back. That's not fun for me. And it's also true, considering that he is also a Phantom Parade content creator. The reason why there's been a lot of like commentary-focused videos from me is because I'm farming SPs for my red unit, so I can do my floor 86 clear. And I'm also farming materials so I can max out Rapid Escape Megami when I summon for him. And I'm also gathering SPs for Rapid Escape Megami for when he releases. So the only thing I can realistically do, besides yap on this channel, is just replay old tower content, which is just insane, because this game got 2 years worth of content in 1 year. And why is my only conclusion and other people's only conclusion playing content we already beat up to months ago, right? Or trying out, old units that, that came from standard banner. Now, mind you, those new units are fun, but even then, like, I'm somebody that plays the game every single day, but I don't have all my units maxed out to 140, and the grind, when you're like grinding during the week, it's painfully slow. So I'm not even going to be maxing out like every single unit feasibly, you know, to experiment with them in between other unit releases. Like, I got to save up for the new unit releases first, then prioritize older characters afterwards. Gosh, these coughs are going crazy. But this is also true. I feel like the casual audience is also being very focused on, but I feel like the reason why they want to do that for standard content in quotation marks, like stories or events, is because I feel like SumZap is at least, and Billy are at least somewhat aware to a certain extent that they don't really have like the strongest consistent whale base as other games do. When SumZap was making revenue in the span of 2025, like, there was like these major spikes during celebrations, and then there were these major dips during like the quiet periods. Like, during the period where like Rabescape and Megami Jogo Kusakabe dropped, like, it was quiet in terms of revenue, dude. So, and they appeal to the casuals. They don't have a lot of hard content. They make a lot of really amazing units. They make a lot of stupid easy content. The casuals that hop into the game just to play it during the big events get their little dopamine farm, and then SumZap goes to just scraping by until the next big event that they can push out. And then a ton of people spend a lot of money in it. And it's just going to be a never-ending cycle. Okay? But this brings up a lot of points that I feel like can only really be touched on by somebody that does play the game a lot, and even plays the game a lot for content. And then next, you got Snobbish Beast. To be honest, they need to buff Curse Sweep rewards. I've been stuck for 2 weeks on one tower floor because I just can't get the materials to SP buff Mechamaru. One other thing, the time you can't do the Maharaga event, at least for the UK, is when most people would actually have the time to. And I know it's because of the whole adaptation gimmick, but it's annoying. And again, I'm not in the UK, but I can understand why this is the struggle for y'all. And this should definitely be something they need to consider in the future if they want to add more of those monthly raid style, or like bi-monthly, or just add raid style events in general. Like, not only are you time locking away the event for the sake of calculation purposes, but you're also pseudo time locking an entire portion of your audience. And I do see a lot of European players on this game, more than I do North American. It's kind of crazy. But we also have, I wish they added more limited floors. It doesn't have to give cubes like limited floors, but just something to give us a bit of content. Maybe just give us some crystals, anything so I can just use the characters more. It's that simple, man. It's that simple. Just let us play the game. That's all we ask for. Honestly, I wish this game had red zones like Dokkan or more unique gimmick fights. Something. Best way to describe this, Annie, for me, was that was purely just used as a way to add new units, and that's it. The only really new content players had was the unit themselves, and that's why the new showcase videos are so long, man, because there's not really anywhere to show them off on except these new tower floors. But these new units aren't just strong enough to powerhouse through these tower floors by themselves, so you got to invest in a lot of other things. So we're just playing old content, man. It's really tough. It's really tough. Here's what I would say, guys. You guys all had some pretty based opinions. Pretty based. I won't lie. I agree with a lot of it. My fellow Phantom Parade enjoyers, from the subscribe to me to the not subscribe from me, to the people in the Discord and to the people who are not in the Discord. But you guys already know my opinion. It's the video that's right here. So that's y'all's opinion. This is technically y'all's video. This is my side's over. So in the comment section down below, let me know who you agree with. Let me know who you disagree with. Let me know in general. If you weren't a part of this video and you want to just give your opinion on Anniversary in general, let me know in the comment section. Or let me know in the Discord, which will also be linked down below in the description. If you also want to have a chance to be in future videos where I do these community reaction style videos, join the Discord. When you join the Discord, take the video gang role. When you get the video gang role, I'll do announcements every once in a while when I plan on doing videos like this, and type your opinions inside of the respective chat, and you'll probably see yourself in a video in the very near future. But yeah, guys, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for a little bit over 600 subscribers as I'm recording this video. And next community video, it might just be hot takes. So if you guys want to leave your Phantom Parade hot takes in terms of like the meta or the gameplay or certain units, or your hot takes on like which unit's better than the other, and you want to add some stuff like that down in the comments down below, you could do that, and I'll consider that for a future hot takes video, which I'll probably also announce in my Discord server for people to get involved with as well. Let me know. But it's been Jay, aka It's Ghost Story, and I will see you guys later.